All right. Hello and welcome to the Wavelenght podcast. So I'm your host, Cody 404, joined with my co-hosts, Ethan and Owen. And today with our special guest, that's Youknowkeegan of Renegade Studios.
Hey guys!
So I say special guest because we all know Keegan as sort of the origin point of, where we all came to know each other and how we all got to know the music scene. And that's kind of a big role that he served within the community. So I'd just like to kind of acknowledge that. And
wow, that's huge, man.
Yeah.
That's a strong start. Thank you. I'm honored to hear that. That was the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just released 506 Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell me just a bit about how people received it, how that went?
I think, and I'm biased, but I think it was the best one yet, where we got a feature from Grid City Magazine, a local Fredericton kind of blog, and for me that was huge. We got the article released the day of the album, and that just helped propel it to new heights that we haven't seen on the 506 series yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was definitely a different vibe from the last two. I found that this one felt very true to the vibe of the studio and a lot of the sessions, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I had mentioned it in our first podcast that it's more mellowed out, but it's more on the vibe, you know what I mean?
It's interesting you say more mellowed out. I don't even find it that way. There's a couple mellow tracks in there.
Yeah.
But I find that there's more harder beats than Volume 2, I think, but as somebody who probably made most of the beats, it's not up for my judgment, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean mellowed out in the best of ways.
Okay. Okay.
Just the vibe. I just mean the vibe of the tracks. They feel very relaxing to me.
Okay.
That's how I interpret it.
I'll take it as a good thing.
Yeah. And I'm gonna just kind of open the floor to these guys. Do you guys have any questions?
Actually, I did have a question. Since you moved to Fredericton and started your career here, what do you think your greatest achievement has been like?
So, first, I think the thing to think about is that I didn't start my career here. I just continued my career in a new location.
Yeah, exactly.
But the biggest accomplishment so far? Oh man. There's some, let me see if I can pull from the bank and see what the top is. It was really cool doing that sold out summer show at the Cap last summer. That was a big moment. Mm-hmm. This Grid City feature is a big moment for me. This album's a big moment for me. Man, oh man, I feel like right now is the biggest moment because people are the most aware they've ever been of Renegade. There's all sorts of people coming out to different events, from Flip This for music producers to cafe shows with acoustic acts and piano and voice and stuff like that, to releasing 506 Volume 3 where it's the most refined, best work yet that lots of people are listening to and enjoying and adding to their playlists and getting inspired to go make more music.
Mm. Yeah. And keeping in mind that this podcast will probably come out around the day of Flip This, the day before Flip This, kind of thing.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, is there any names that you're excited about for that event?
I think not necessarily names, but what the people attending don't know yet is that there's a lot of people coming out for the listening party. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a cool hangout and awesome. Probably the best spot to be networking as an artist or music producer will be then and there.
That's awesome.
So I'm really excited for that. Yeah, there's people coming in looking for beats. There's people who do their own art online that are looking for beats. There's artists looking for new producers to work with. And yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we kind of got a little bit of a sneak preview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, did you say this is coming out the day before or after?
I was thinking the Friday of, so.
Oh man, if it's coming out, if Flip This is tonight, then hit me up and come out.
Alright.
Yeah.
So you've done 506 Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
You've done all of these new interviews with Grid City, and you have these Flip This events. What's your next big project?
For me, 506 Volume 3 and albums like that it takes so much work to put together that people don't realize. They just see the post on Instagram and they go check out the album, but it's like I'm mixing at 7 o'clock in the morning. In between any other work, I'm just mixing, I'm producing, I'm working on this and that, and all the other stuff, the branding of it, the marketing of it, all this stuff, right? So right now, I'm just kind of in the chill, relax, enjoy period. Mm-hmm. Even though my plate's almost full. I'm not going to say full to stress myself out, but it's like I've got multiple gigs coming up that I'm working on organizing and promoting and all this kind of stuff. And always recording sessions, and I'm always making beats. So I'm in a good spot right now. I know I have enough. I have plenty. In every aspect. So I'm not burnt out and oh shit. I'm wow, we did it again to new heights. I got more stuff happening. Yeah,
it's a lot more time to think about what's next and keep yourself in that inspired lane when you've got a sort of back catalog and more to work with, right?
I have a back catalog, but there's no big huge task that I'm stressing about right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave the floor open to my co-host here. Any questions?
Not this time around.
Okay.
All right. So what are your goals moving forward, more so with the local scene? How do you see, where do you see that going in the next year or so?
I think the thing to keep in mind is that what is the mission of Renegade? It's just to have a place in Fredericton for artists and producers to develop their skills. So anything that has come or will come will be based off of that mission. And everything you've seen so far, whether it be recording sessions, whether it be performances, stage time, whether it be interviews where I'm promoting these local artists in this local scene, it's all just different variations of that mission. Yeah. So it's just, you're going to see me finding new ways to either promote artists and producers or help develop artists and producers or just have some helping hand in the local scene. Yeah.
And I don't want to move through these too quickly, but so I wanted to ask, because you were doing house music just a few months ago kind of thing. Do you have anything upcoming with that kind of project? Anything you would...
I should be, to be honest, everybody here, I should just release it or drop it. But I'm just at this point where it's quality work. I just don't know if I have the avenue for it yet.
Yeah, I get that. You kind of want to take more time to give it its own
if identity. I just make a distro account, upload it to Spotify, it'll get a couple streams, and it'll be out there. But is that the best execution for it?
Yeah.
Currently possible? So that's where I am right now. I am in this I'm in this place where it's creating and all that stuff gets me so hyped. And that was in November or something, right? Now, some things in my life, as everybody's life, happened where I had to put that on the back burner for a little bit. But yeah, man, I got a whole quality EDM album that people are hype on. It's on a hard drive right now.
Yeah, I'd still like some of the things you've shown me in the past and stuff from it and everything. I was going through, I think it was my Google Drive or something like that, and you had sent me one of them.
Yeah.
And I was where the hell did this come from?
Yeah.
So I actually had to look at the info tag and everything. I was oh, that came from you.
Yeah. Actually, on that note, Quinn, she's a local artist in Fredericton, one of the best, and she's been through what I've been trying to gather. She's been a few musical projects and acts throughout time.
Yeah.
And it seems like she's just working on her own solo project right now for performances and this and that. And she hit me up for the stems of this track we made, which you probably heard that nobody's really heard.
Yeah.
But it's by far, for me, the standout track on the album.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's the only one with vocals. But I think she's going to start performing that track out, so that's exciting for me.
That is really exciting.
Yeah.
And kind of like, it's been a while since I heard it now, but I'd be interested to hear it in some of the, like, because you're doing the venues at the cafe and stuff like that. That's Cafe Loco.
Cafe Loca.
Loco? Laca.
Whoa. Oh, I'm so glad that just happened.
Bro,
Loca.
I have not slept today.
That's
Alright.
on you.
Yeah, that's totally
You
me.
knew you had an interview coming up.
No, I know. I sleep at weird times. I think that's something any listeners of the podcast will come to know over time.
Yeah.
So I just want to open the floor for some discussion.
Any topic?
Yeah.
Oh, you just mean like any topic?
Well, I meant more for my co-host to...
If not, I'm going to start rapid firing questions off.
Do you have any short-term goals that are coming up that are close to fulfillment? Or?
Well, I guess the ones I'll say out loud are we're going to have... Flip This will be tonight if everything goes as planned when this gets released. And then I actually have a gig the Saturday, so the Saturday after Friday, and it's a private gig, so I can't actually announce where it's at, but I've been working on that one. We're gonna do some content for that.
Yes.
Pointing at Ethan, but and then the following week, it's a Saturday. It's March 26th. We have Cafe Loca booked out, and we have some boys from Moncton coming out to play a country act at Cafe Loca, and I'm super excited about that. So I think the cafe, not that I think, I know, we've got monthly Cafe Loca shows now. We're back in the swing of Flip This. I have the idea of I want to produce an artist's project now and do a Renegade Sound Presents, like a full project with someone. And man, that alone keeps my plate full.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you said, right? You've got quite a bit of stuff prepared. So
that's a thing that we should talk about for a minute, because preparation is huge.
Yeah.
And the more that you can prepare for something, the more easy the actual thing can become.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like, even just the difference in this moment right now, you know what I mean? Our first podcast, I went in with a couple ideas of how we were going to approach it, but it was really through, like, now being more prepared, going through those steps, setting everything up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it feels more comfortable. So I think that's just an immediate example of that for me. But
Preparation is huge in all aspects of life.
yeah.
You can't just show up to whatever it is and think that you're going to just know how to do whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, some people are like that. And some people, that is their strength, but
Maybe.
yeah. It depends, right? Like, I think it depends on what you do. But, so I had another question, which was, what would you name as your top 5 artists locally right now in Fredericton?
It's tough because I would say number 1 Chase,
Yeah.
but I don't know what Chase is doing right now, man. Like,
I don't even know where he is right
I
now.
think I should be seeing him Thursday, which will be yesterday if this gets released on Friday.
Okay.
And I'll catch up with him then. I mean, man, I gave my A game working on those songs.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I just released 506 Volume 3 with songs that were made months ago when Chase and I were linking up every single day.
Yeah.
If Chase is an artist, if Chase is in Fredericton, then number 1 right there for sure. Look, I can't number people. I'll just say some standout artists to look out for would definitely be Chase, Ben, Liam, which today he's going by Lenny Lizgar. You can look him up at Bad Habits XXL on Instagram. I say that because, like, I don't know what name he's going by or promoting music by, but he's definitely worth checking out. I should have these all. That's embarrassing. Fucking everybody, man. Go check them out. Everybody's worth looking at.
Absolutely. I find, too, like
Look, it's tough saying top 5 because there's only like 7 people trying to be an artist in Fredericton to begin with.
Yeah.
So everybody who's working on music right now is the best.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think too.
Mitch, for sure. Kerr, that's MCIV. Look him up. Kerr, look him up. When they come to my head, I'll listen more off.
I think too, like there's more people coming recently.
Yeah.
Out of the woodworks. Like there was actually somebody. I won't say the name because I don't want to seem rude to that person, but I knew them as this one person and everything, and then I go to a whole different place and I expect them to be, see them there. It's like, hey, how you doing? Mind you, I'm talking to a rapper who looks exactly like this guy. Not even the same guy. Totally different, like, music, everything. But, like...
So you just saw someone out in public who looked like somebody else?
No, I was at Fill the Blank.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd seen a guy there that looked a lot like another guy that...
Who was that guy? But you're being secretive right now?
Okay, I'm not being secretive. I'll say the name.
Okay.
But if this guy hears it, I just want him to know that I don't know him yet. So that's the only reason. But it was Flowers the rapper.
You haven't met him yet?
No, I haven't met him.
Okay.
And then I can't remember this other guy's name because I only met him for a second. But like same kind of getup, same kind of look to his face, everything. So that's who I thought I was meeting. I'm about halfway through a conversation with him, and then he introduces me to himself as whatever, and then like his artist name, and I'm like, oh, honestly, I thought I was following you. Like,
well, that needs to be something that we got to talk about then, because artist branding around here is not on point. You need to be able to see someone and immediately go, that is so and so. You can't be having a half an hour conversation and then be like, wait, I thought you were so and so.
I think that's the goal with this, right? Is giving people the opportunity, not so much the branding aspect, but to put themselves out there. So no matter who they are, right? If your name is just a big, long, complicated name nobody can pronounce, they at least have this moment to look back on and like kind of that's you, that's your personality, and they'll get to know that name.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the goal with the whole thing is I want people to have a chance to express more personality because to announce this to the podcast kind of thing, you and I had done a bunch of vlogs last summer, and that was a big goal of mine, was to kind of get people's personality out there. But as we got more into the grind of it, it became harder to express through that format. So I think that in a sense this is kind of a continuation of that, right? Like trying to broadcast who these people are, and because to me that's a big part of what makes it so cool. Even like you say, there's only so many people taking it seriously, but I don't even think of it that way, because I think not to say that everybody is taking it super seriously, but I think that each person individually has the potential to be an artist. They just need the right
believe
the
in
right
pure
guidance, the right
potentiality. Anybody could do anything if they really set their mind to it, right? And you are right, where everybody's trying their hardest with what they got, and they think they're doing the best, right?
Yeah, sure.
For someone like myself, it just looks like a bunch of hobbyists. That's the best way I can describe it. Yeah.
I think too, though, I'm kind of starting to admire that a little bit. Like, I think there's something to be said about people who grow through, organic means and stuff. And I think, in one sense,
is there any other way to grow?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like, for some people, it really is 100% marketing, right? Like, you just kind of create an image of picture, like you create pictures, you sell a certain image and stuff like that. But for some people, it's like an inevitable thing, right? They might just be a group of friends that starts live streaming the fact that they rap, mess around and make a song, and then that becomes the hottest song in the world for a minute. So, I think that, that's what I'm trying to focus on with looking at the scene as a whole. It's just like, there is a lot of people who don't take it super seriously, but I think in that same breath, I could totally see them and their personality catching on to a much larger scope of people, you know what I mean?
Definitely. So Wavelenght, how's it going?
So far, it's going good.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that I'm kind of most proud of, and I don't think I've shared much in the last couple days as far as like recent things, but I've been kind of like reaching out as far as like Halifax and just different like people that are connected to people in Fredericton and stuff. I've been really exploring them, the people they share, and kind of like making an effort to connect with those people. And that feels like a big accomplishment to me because it's never really been my strong suit, is networking with people. And then I found another aspect of it that's enjoyable is the diplomatic aspect, right? Like I have to go into different places and meet different people and stuff, and not everybody I meet agrees with the person I was hanging out with 30 seconds ago.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And in a sense, it can be a little bit like nerve-wracking. You don't know what you're going into, but I'm the type of person that I'm kind of ready for whatever comes my way, and I'm just excited by it.
Right.
So to me, it's like Wavelength has been great on my part of it kind of thing. I've just had a lot of opportunity to try out different things that I never really felt confident in doing, but for whatever reason, the format of this makes me feel a little bit more comfortable in it.
That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Nice.
And generally, I kind of wanted to ask you guys, like, what are some things that you guys see coming up with Wavelength on your end of it? Like, what are some projects you're excited to get into?
Not as much get into, but more continue on. I like to see where the write-ups are going as far as 506 Volume 3 and where that's going to be going.
Yeah.
And even as it gets closer to, not necessarily completion, but as far as behind-the-scenes completion goes, it's very motivating as far as going forward with new projects, how fast we can potentially get them out.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff can you see going up on the Wavelength YouTube channel, starting off with?
So, I've had a lot of different ideas for the Wavelength channel. One thing is I'd like to upload the podcast to the YouTube with, you know, some art and everything. And then the next thing I'd like to do is the singles. So that's singles that people are doing that they will put out to be released through Wavelength. We do the promotion, things like that. And kind of all of that is meant to point towards their accounts, their channel, that kind of thing. But it kind of like, it gives a little bit of exposure to these people that we're talking about now during these podcasts, right? Because we have a lot of names and everything, but if somebody just found Wavelength today, they wouldn't know who these people are, right? Unless they really went and searched them up, kind of thing. So the goal is that we'll use that channel as a way to push any new eyes at Wavelength to the people we're promoting.
It's cool to see how far media sharing goes, where it's like this profile is supposed to branch off into so many different faces per se, as opposed to one like say an influencer as an individual. Their key aspect is to try and get as many pointed towards them as.
And I did have another question for you, Keegan.
Oh, I love it. What's that?
Okay. What are two rappers that you've never heard in the local scene that you'd like to see come together on a track?
Great question. I would say... Does Chase and Kerr have a song?
I don't think they do.
Chase and Kerr.
Yeah,
Definitely.
That would definitely be.
Yeah.
I could so see that too.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Who was it? For whatever reason, I didn't know Kerr was a feature on somebody's song.
Mitch's.
Yeah, that was it. That was like, that surprised me.
And I recorded his verse with a different microphone.
Yeah.
And it was such a pain in the ass trying to get it to sound good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I find with that you've almost got to process it as if like with totally different stuff. You know what I mean?
That's how you have to.
Yeah.
It's something entirely different.
Well, I mean like no, but I mean like
Because you get
for
used
example,
to mixing one microphone, and you get used to using this compressor and this EQ and this and that, but that doesn't work on a new instrument.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I find it's a lot easier to go for like a new sound and a new vibe with a new microphone than to try to emulate the sound of the old.
You can't. I mean, keep in mind too, the first recording had acoustic treatment. The second recording didn't have acoustic treatment.
Yeah.
So the rooms were different also.
Yeah.
On top of a different microphone.
Okay, right.
With a different preamp. So it's a different, it's like, source signal entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of geeking out on the audio stuff, but I like it. Like,
hey man, it's music shit.
yeah, exactly. But I'll get into like rants about stuff that before I know it, I'm like, I feel like nobody in the room understands what I'm
You gotta know how to
about.
read a room. Don't talk about nerdy audio stuff in front of
I don't know how
people
to,
who make cakes.
I don't know how to not like geek out. I'm not good at that.
Yeah, it's more about you're having a 10-minute conversation about an EQ to somebody who's just staring at you blank in the face, and you're like, well, maybe I should pick up this social cue.
That's the moment where you gotta kind of be like, never mind, you know?
Yeah.
Is never mind an acceptable thing to say after 10 minutes, though?
Yeah.
Well,
When you realize that the person's on a different page from you and they're not understanding the severity of what you're talking about, and then you can be like, well, fucking, never mind. Like,
Just drop it.
Yeah.
yeah. Alright, and did we have any more questions, you guys?
If not, I'll come back.
I think that's it for me.
Alright. I do want to thank you for coming out today.
My
and joining
pleasure.
us. So everybody, well, I'm going to give you the chance to drop all your social medias, that kind of thing.
Listen, just follow me at Youknowkeegan on Instagram and follow Renegade Sound HQ on Instagram, and you're good to go.
Alright. And so I'd like to thank everybody for listening to us. And any closing statements? Alright, thank you everybody for joining us on the Wavelenght podcast today.